Hello beautiful people, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I am taking you through my journey and my first impressions of Zimbabwe in 2024. I haven't been to Zim since, I can't remember, I think it's like 10-11 years. For context, I left Zim in 2003 for the first ever time. That was the first time I ever got onto an aeroplane. And then I came back about 5 years later. I came back for about 8 months to try school and I hated it. I didn't like it. So that's why it was only 8 months. The reason I hated it, I think that might be a video for its own, on its own. But basically, I was going to Goromonte High School. And then when we left and I came back, my parents felt, oh, we have a little bit of coin now. Let's send you to a better school, you know, Watershed. Let's send you there. And I was expecting to meet my Zim people because when I got to England, I was bullied for not speaking English. And then when I came back to Watershed, I was kind of semi-bullied, or like speaking Shona was like, ew, you know, and I was just like, what kind of Zimbabweans are these? And trying to fit into that whole other bracket of Zimbabweans was just another thing. And that was the main reason why I hated it. I just didn't fit in well. Anyway, we digress. Like I said, that's a video for another day. But right now, I want to talk to you about my comeback to Zim, to home. Let's go straight into as you land. First impressions, the airport. Let's start right there because the airport first impressions, I must say, stunning. Okay, they did well. The design is modern, it's grand. You know, they're still working on it, but currently what they've done so far is really good. It looks very modern, it looks timeless as well. There's still clearly signs of more expansions on the way. They want to make the airport a bit bigger, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. It's giving like, you know, future African hub. There's always a but, and that but for me is I can't help but wonder, how are we paying for the construction? I just pray that we're not swiping away the loan cards to the likes of China or Russia. I hope we're actually paying for the majority of it through our own pocket. I know not all debt is bad debt, but yeah, I'm just curious, how are we paying for this? I think we deserve to know as a people of the country, at least like I'm soon to be a citizen, and we're gonna get into that on another video. But I believe, I want to say, any Zimbabwean person deserves to understand how is their money being spent, especially if they work and pay taxes. If you know a little bit more about how the airport and these roads are being funded predominantly, comment below and share and let us all know. The next thing on my list is the airport customer service. The lesson from this section of this video is, as always, don't forget your pen. My first encounter involved essentially a mission for me to borrow a pen at immigration because silly me, I didn't have a pen packed with me because like the last time I wrote anything, I typed everything basically, and I had completely forgotten the process at immigration, what it looks like. After me saying to these ladies, excuse me, like 3-4 times, they were airing me, completely airing me. The officers didn't even look up, but I was clearly there, you know. Mind you, the glass is right here, and I'm like right here, and they're in these cubicles. And finally, I'm like, excuse me, and they're like, yeah, and I'm just like, can I please borrow a pen? They're like, we don't have one. They each had a pen they were writing with, and there was a pen in the middle that was a spare pen, clearly. And I had to point it out for them to give it to me. And then firstly, they sent me back to the desk. They were like, there's pens over there. I went there, I came back because there weren't any. What they should do, as just my humble advice, they should just put those pens that are stuck with a chain to the desk so that everyone has one. Because I mean, like, I don't know, do you not want people to have a good experience or not? You know, that was my first experience. Anyway, all I can say is have your own pen. But I was left wondering, like, can we talk about how maybe smiling, maybe acknowledging human beings as they're coming into the country, whether they're Zimbabwean or foreign, I don't know, maybe smile and maybe be friendly to them and maybe be helpful. I know immigration, they have a job to do, and it's a serious job. It's a serious one, or it's an important one. But I don't know if it needs to be borderline rude, borderline unhelpful, borderline nonchalant in the process. I think you can still achieve what you need to do and what you need to be while still being friendly. Next on my list is the roads. The roads is the same old story, okay? If you are in an affluent area, or a main motorway or highway, they call it here, it's smooth sailing. Okay, it's so smooth. In fact, it's so good. If you venture out to these high density areas, you know, the potholes become, it's pothole central. It's mad. Okay, you can see though, you can see that there's efforts being made, because you can see that this is new tar, this is old tar. You can see that this has just been graded to level it so they can pour new tar. So they are working on it. I just hope it reaches these other areas. I don't know what it takes. I don't know how Zimbabwean politics works, but it will be amazing if roads are just beautiful everywhere and anywhere. Okay, so let's talk money, because big deal, big one, money. So in Zim right now, there's two main currencies. I'm sorry to say the main currency remains the USD, but then we do have the Zimbabwean gold, the ZiG, people are calling it as well. I'm not gonna lie, navigating these two currencies is like playing a game of chess with inflation a little bit. And also it's like you're expected to understand, okay, use the ZiG in this transaction, but no, use the USD in this transaction. The longer you spend here, the more you will know which one to use and when. But I personally have just stuck to the US dollar. You have the option to pay with both when you're making a transaction in a shop. You can pay in cash, or you can pay by card, or you can pay by EcoCash. We talked about money, let's go into more detail. Money, cashless. I love a cashless system because it helps me to stay on top of things as well. It helps me to track back, helps me to measure. EcoCash is still king, okay, of cashless movements, transactions in Zim. It's easy to use. It's accepted almost everywhere and everywhere. And even Sekuru, that is Kumusha, he has EcoCash most likely. There are now other players in the game. Mukuru is a big one for people sending money, particularly from abroad. Inbox is owned by the likes of Pizza Inn, Chicken Inn. There's now Inbox. It's not so widely available. On to the prices of things. The price of just generally day to day. Okay, if you are shopping in official stores like your Bon Marché, your Pick n Pay, perhaps prepare yourself for just shocking prices. Like, tell me why I went to the shops to buy butter and then I ended up picking up an oil for my hair, and that came to $21 or $22, not Zimbabwean dollars or USD. Butter, margarine, as in the thing that you put on bread, and oil for your hair. I can't remember how much each thing was, but that's crazy. Like that's crazy. What I'm seeing, what I'm recognizing is there's little tuck shops everywhere now by the roadside. Essentially, people are converting the back of their cars into a tuck shop, and they're selling things for way cheaper than in the store. And that's where the majority of people are shopping. But I do have questions in terms of why is their stuff cheaper, and also how do we know that they haven't emptied it and diluted it or put something else? Do you get what I mean? It becomes about that now. Essentially, counterfeit goods are harder to control when we're now having tuck shops like that. And it's all because people are running away from the main stores because they're mad expensive. Why they're mad expensive, I want to imagine is to do with the importation tax, with the tariffs for importing goods from outside in. I want to imagine that's what it is. I can confirm the good news is you can find almost anything in the store. So I don't know what's her name? Tiffany Haddish, what her shock was exactly, but yeah, maybe I should be acting like her, like, oh my gosh, everything is here. We're just not there anymore, guys. Like, there's literally everything is available. On to my favorite one, because I like to gallivant at all times, at all hours of the day. Zimbabwe is actually surprisingly safe. In terms of safety, Zim is safe. People are friendly, okay? Just obviously don't walk around like just everything open, exposed. That's just what it is. It's just common sense. And I'm sure bad moments, bad timing can happen. Things like that can happen, but I think in general, Zim is very, very safe. And when something weird happens, it's actually the talk of the town because it's abnormal, if that makes sense, right? I would say from a safety point of view, obviously exercise caution. Even though common sense is not so common, let common sense be common in and know your lane, know your limits. What's too much for you might be okay for me, and vice versa. So just, you know, operate in that way, essentially. Nighttime is like the major concern, right? But now we have an app called InDrive, which is basically an Uber equivalent. I don't know how the owner of that app is making money, but people are doing all sorts of Scooby-Doos on that app, and I just don't know if that person is making, the owner is making any money. Anyway, it's a fully functioning app, very reliable. I prefer it. I haven't used Bolt here, but because there is Bolt and there is InDrive. The most common one is InDrive, and so far what I've deduced is people prefer it because the price you agree upon booking is what you will pay. There's no, like, the app doesn't change the price, which apparently is what can happen with Bolt. Okay, so we have to include the issue of bribery in this video in my first impressions coming home, because it seems to be part and parcel with the day-to-day of Zimbabwe. All I can say is, what I'm realizing is people are safeguarding information that should be general public knowledge, okay? And because of that, people don't know how to navigate systems and do things, and so they feel the need to pay a bribe. And so it then becomes a vicious cycle where, because that's by default what people believe they need to do, it becomes an expectation on the person who should be delivering a service or what they're doing, a job that they're hired to do anyway, but that now they're charging for the information they have because the other person doesn't know, but really they're there to tell the person the information. I'm not saying everyone in Zim is like that, but I'm noticing that is what is kind of causing a lot of the bribery problems. And I know people are going to be saying, oh, that's Africa, that's Africa, that's Africa. But can we just hold off normalizing things that are not okay? Because actually we're doing ourselves. Last on the list of this video is my impressions of my people, them. My people, my people, my people. I'll say this like with all respect and all kindness, but I'm definitely noticing like the art of complaining is real here. By default, if you ask somebody how they are, the default response is things are tough, things are hard, or jinjakaoma, or jinjakaoma. And I get it, yeah, things are. But having moved around, having seen other countries, having lived in different continents for a minute, not a minute as in a wow, but I've been in places long enough to see the day-to-day. And when I compare, right, and then I compare their language and their attitude, it's drastically different. It just feels to me the default for Zimbabweans is to complain whilst doing what they need to do, but they're complaining. And as a person that is very like, I'm so measured and I'm very aware that my words are so powerful. What I say to others and what I say to myself becomes an internal belief in the end. I'm like, okay, so when are we going to change the vocabulary to perhaps talk about what you are doing against or in resistance to the challenges on ground? Because challenges are everywhere. Like when you go to any African countries, there are challenges, but the words you use to describe your day-to-day are your choice. And I'm just like, if you're constantly using hardship words, at what point then, where in your vocabulary and therefore your heart, your inner man, are you expecting that hardship to reverse if what's by default coming out of your mouth is negative words? There are many excuses that somebody can use to not listen to what I'm saying right now. However, all I can say is Zim does not have it as bad as other countries that I've seen. And one of the things I love about being back home is like I'm practicing my Shona. My Shona is coming back. Like it was starting to sound like like no, we're getting back there. Anyway, but what I'm saying, guys, is what you speak is what is inside you, and it's what will manifest. That is so real. That's just how the human spirit man and the human nature works. I think I have rambled long enough in this video because I don't even know how long I've been filming, but now I'm going. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Feel free to add your 2 bobs and cents in the comment section. Be kind, be nice, be honest, but be kind and be nice. I'll see you in the next one.